like this song Real People, you know, by Common is so like it's a classic to me. Like if I had to name classics in terms of like, you know, like Black music, for me, like that album B is like, is such a dope album, but definitely Real People is like one of my favorite songs from that album. And I felt like it was important to kind of like, I wanted to get your perspective on this because I love not only, you know, Kanye's production and I love Common, but I also love the song that they sampled from it, which was Sweet Children from Caesar Frazier. So it's just like, yeah.
Right.
That's my intro.
We are the Super Friends of Sampling, the track masters of tracks. We talk, you listen, we do this thing. We are the one and only Beat Connection. And to the bottom, I got my man
Azrael DiCaprio. You can call me Karee.
Hey, and to my left, you're right. Depending on which way you watching it, it's the singer, songwriter, producer, and songstress.
Hey y'all, this is Alexa Gold.
Hey. And I am your man, the Can't Do Kid, Shizz. I'm just the beast of the East, the mouth of the South, the best in the West, whatever you want to call me. I'm just here listening to these two talk. But hey, we're gonna go ahead and go on the I think we'll call this a little bit of a smooth ride, a little bit of a feel good kind of. Yeah, we're gonna have some feel good vibes with this one. So today's tracks are going to be, drum roll please. I'm gonna let y'all figure it out. We're just gonna jump into the conversation. Speaking on the album B Altogether, right? For me personally, that's one of the top albums in my catalog, in my playlist. That's one of those ones. It's rare, and it's rare that you can find an album that you can sit and just press play. Right. Meaning I'm not skipping. Only other button I might hit a few times is repeat, because I'm playing a couple tracks again and again along with the album. That's one of those ones I can put on and just sit and listen. But speaking on the Real People track, I feel you in every sense of the kind of like the tempo and the sound and the bars and everything. It's a bring you together. It's a bring you together, feel good type of a track for me. And then to touch on the Caesar Frazier track, you introduced me to him. I was not aware of who Caesar Frazier was until I went ahead and listened, and I was like, yo, this is a dope sound, yo. And it made me think of like it made me think about like a big band type of a club. Whenever you put like horns and trumpets on something, it always gives me like that big band kind of Harlem Nights sitting in the club kind of feel or whatever. So
felt like using the boom boom.
Yo, real talk, man, because it's like, yo, everybody in there vibing and jamming and everything, and it's just a feel good track. You know what I'm saying? So what you got, Reed?
So, I can't say too much different from what you guys feel. I'll say this. That is definitely one of, if not my favorite tracks. It's not my favorite because I still love the corner.
Oh yeah.
Like corner. But that, you know, when people talk about Kanye West and his production, they always talk about how college dropout, late registration, graduation is kind of his peak, right? For me, when I talk about Kanye and wanting the old Kanye back, B. That is as close as you can get to a perfect album during the Kanye West era of music. What I loved about digging through this record and listening to Sweet Children by Caesar Frazier, one thing I did love, and try to differentiate my stances dealing with you guys because it's three different perspectives. So what I tend to do is I go down that rabbit hole of reading credits seeing how deep the music goes. Because I've heard the original song before. What I didn't know was how beloved Caesar Frazier's music is within hip hop. Within hip hop, there's as much as we appreciate Kanye West is a branch from the DJ Premier tree. He'll tell you that. And DJ Premier has sampled Caesar Frazier's music at least on 3 different occasions. And what's the name of that Gangstar record? X Girl to the Next Girl? Like, get the name of the Caesar Frazier song that samples. But he went to that same record twice to create 2 different classics for Gangstar. One was for Gangstar, one was for a remix for Arrested Development. I forget the name of the record. But Caesar Frazier's music is such a huge part of the hip hop culture. But to go back to Common, how important that record is, it's a personal classic for me. It's a classic record. Common has always been like a hood narrative. He's a lyricist, but he gives you social commentary on the hood. And the way he closes the first verse of that record, I believe he says something to the effect of like, "I create freedom songs for real people."
Yeah,
and then the trumpets come back in. And I was like,
yeah.
That's the best way to describe that song. If I was to describe it in one sentence, it would be that last bar of the first verse.
Yeah, like I feel like it's kind of when we talk about like Curtis Mayfield, Marvin Gaye, and you talk about like the message music that they made for like their generation. I feel like definitely, and maybe even particularly, and definitely like throughout his career, I mean, Common has made incredible music and he's had like dope albums, but I would definitely categorize him as somebody who makes message music, in a sense for like, his generation. And I think Caesar Frazier, from listening to his music, but definitely like Sweet Children, there's something in that song that's like, I just imagine him like sitting on like the steps one day and just like just watching for a day, just watching what happens in the neighborhood.
Right.
And then taking all of that whole energy and putting that into, what he played on the keys and like the horns, the arrangements, everything. Cause I feel like it's just one of those songs that's just like, I felt like for that time, this was like 75. Yeah. I felt like for that time, it was like, this is a song you would put on and instantly it would take you to like your neighborhood.
Yeah. Right.
I feel like it just connects you to something like that.
Yeah. Go ahead, Rick.
No, go ahead.
Oh, well, all I was going to say was, so one, X Girl to the Next Girl was a sample of Caesar Frazier, Funk It Down. And,
right.
And Common off it. So this is the tracks we're discussing, right? Is off of the album B, performed by Common, and the track Real People, performed by Common, produced by Kanye West, which was released in May 2005, and they sampled Caesar Frazier's Sweet Children off of his album 75, which was released in 75. So I always say shout out to the 70s or whatever.
That music.
Yeah, man.
And I always say like if we had to pick like a big brother or a grandpop or a cool uncle or something like that, like the 70s would definitely be that for hip hop.
Right.
They borrowed in, you know what I'm saying? Because granted, hip hop is its own entity at the end of the day. And as children coming up, sweet children, we was all our own individuals, but we all took
Well played.
From, you know what I'm saying, the elders from around us, our friends and family, but again, more specifically, the old heads that we chilled around. And I feel like that's what hip hop does. And I feel like on this particular track, Real People, Kanye executed that. Like, I hate to say perfectly, but again, I'm gonna echo what you said, bro. You was like, yo, I feel like Kanye on his individual stuff, we know he does his thing. We know he gets busy. But I feel like he really be shining when he's producing for other people. Like
he's a producer first.
Right, exactly. So specific, but I don't know specifically when he gets with Common. I don't know if it's like a Chi-Town thing or them just being cool, like for real, and the chemistry and all of that. Kind of like we had a conversation before about producers and / artists getting together, whatever, in reference to like Madlib and Freddie Gibbs or whatever. I feel like they carry, like I don't want to say they were the originators, but they definitely carried the torch as far as chemistry is involved with producer. When we just talking about Kanye, the producer, as opposed to talking about Common. And Common, like we said, as far as feel good, bring together. I'm the voice of the people. I think Common can almost, and this is the big thing. So don't take it as literal as you want to. People don't like let's not jump over the bridge. But Kanye, Common, as far as in the hip hop world, could be hip hop's Martin Luther.
That's not a far cry. Not a far cry. Because we'll touch on this later, but I've always viewed Chuck D as the Malcolm of hip. So you need that. We'll get to it, but I like that stance.
Interesting perspective.
So you spoke to Common and Kanye's chemistry. Common and Kanye's chemistry is not just Chicago related. Common works very hands-on and always has with No ID. No ID being Kanye West's mentor. I can't tell you how long Kanye might have been around Common without working with him and just understanding the kind of music that he makes.
Right.
And I say that because I've seen Kanye produce a majority of projects for certain people. They don't sound like B. Nothing against Kanye and nothing against the other artists. But there's something special about Common and Kanye coming together. And
you adjust to your environment.
Yeah. And it feels like home. I think that's something to be said too. It feels like home. Like you said, that's where the Chi-Town roots kind of come into. But
Lexi,
just to go with
you itching. I'm gonna let you finish.
I'm waiting.
She look like she salivating at the mouth right now to get this.
So all right. So let me just say this. And I'll keep this brief. The way that Kanye sampled "Sweet Children," and you'll hear me say this a lot as we go through these conversations. It felt like he found a part of that piece that was perfect for somebody to rap with. And because hip hop is so based on, it's older now, but it was a young art form, and all you were drawing from was your inspiration from yesteryear.
Right.
So you have this new art form of rap that you really dig, but you have this appreciation for your parents' music. So you're trying to find a way to kind of toe the line between doing something new and appreciating where you came from. And hip hop is like somewhere in the middle. And I feel like the way Kanye took, even the sax solos. Oh my God. Before we got together, I was in the gym, right? So I'm in the gym and I'm listening to Sweet Children and I'm hearing the solo without Common rapping over it. And it's so, I was like, I had to stop in the middle of my set. I was like, wait a minute, I'm not ready for this. Like, there's so much greatness in that original record.
Yeah.
So to be able to create, that's a classic rap record. Real People is a classic record. And tip my hat to Common and Kanye. Lex?
Yeah, I just wanted to add on to that, but ask a question as well. So, when B was in formation, when it was like, being recorded and produced, Kanye was also working on Late Registration. So it was kind of like this simultaneous, like, fluid, sort of like progression of like just dope music coming from like, and I think at that time too, he also established Good Music, like his company. So it's just like so much like out of that camp that was like coming to the forefront. And Common was like, he was kind of like getting out of a relationship with like Erykah Badu and like,
remember he just came off of what was it, chocolate starfish, whatever that joint was.
Don't do that.
Electric Circus, don't be disrespectful.
Yeah,
don't do that. First of all, Like Water for Chocolate is great. Like Water for Chocolate is great. There is an album in between Like Water for Chocolate and B though. I can't remember what that album is.
Well, that's Electric Circus.
Yeah, that's what.
Is that the one?
I believe that was the one that came before B. Yeah.
Because what happened was, don't get me wrong, B is a dope album, like I said, but the reason why is I think that adds a little bit more fire to it because he put out a project before that wasn't as,
and that was Electric Circus.
Right.
Yeah, I don't,
because it was kind of like
well received, like like you trying something different, bro. Like
it was
you could do it, but they ain't really vibing off of this. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you know what's funny? Well, that was because he started dealing with the Neptunes, and the Neptunes were great. Are great because they're back together now. The Neptunes are great. Everybody can't do that Neptune sound. So even though, because what was that one joint he had the video for? Was it Come Close? Where the girl was.
Yep.
His love interest was deaf and he was standing outside.
Oh, right.
He caught a lot of flack for that. I love that video.
I love that song. It's such a beautiful song.
Yeah. But we talk about this a lot. Artists grow. Some things work, some things don't.
Right. Nothing against them.
Yeah, and it just felt good. It always feels good to hear the artists that you grew up on come back to that raw sound. It's kind of like when Jay-Z dropped American Gangster. For the people that like that album, it felt like Reasonable Doubt Part 2.
But he was coming off of Kingdom Come, right? Which wasn't really that well received by the people. And that was almost kind of a different vibe a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think like we know as artists from what we've seen from the fan perspective, like artists have their ups and downs. Their debut might be like, might skyrocket out the gate. Then, they're taking off and they might have a second album and it like stabilizes them. And then it comes maybe to like the third or fourth album. It's kind of like, I don't know. So there's some joints on here, but like some other ones, I'm not really feeling like that. So I think like we have to give the artist room to kind of like explore.
Of course. Yeah,
and I think like Common, at that time was just like, he did
like a true artist.
But you gotta give artists time to like explore and to like see what else they can do, because we already know like Common can do that, like the regular, like the hood philosopher stuff. Like we know he can do that, but like kind of doing Electric Circus, which kind of saw him tapping into it could have been influenced by Erykah, could have been, but but I also think there was a part of him too that was like kind of probably yearning to do something different. And so like I didn't think the album was so bad, but but that's also me, because I just I love all kinds of music and I like seeing when an artist tries something different, even if I don't necessarily like it too much. But like coming onto this album, like he was leaving his label at the time, he was kind of going through so much, and I think like Kanye like breathe new life into him and his music. And I think like it kind of like just brought him back to square one. Like it brought him back to the center.
I'm glad you said that. What happened with Kanye, I'm about to say Kanye, what happened with Common was, like you said, it kind of, I don't want to call it a dud. That's what people say. But he dropped the album that wasn't well received as, because I feel like a lot of people like that album now.
Man, if you make a couple bucks off of it, it ain't no dud to me.
Yeah, right. And the music's not bad.
Right.
I had a separate thought that I wanted to get out to pretend to do that, but we'll get back to that. What happened with Common was people thought he fell off. I did. I will never put a lyricist, somebody that's a lyricist, you never count him out. But anyway, Common smoked his feature on College Dropout. Smoked it. To the point where it was like, oh, is that what he sounded like? Him and Kanye need to lock in. And then they lock in and give you a classic. So what I was going to say was pertaining to artistic progression. Artists wanted to try different things, maybe talk about different things, try different sounds. My issue when artists do that is never the content. Wherever you want to take me content-wise, I'm with you. If the production is trash or if it's subpar, I can't do it. Like you could, so right. I had, and this is totally on the tangent. I'll keep it brief. When Eminem dropped Revival, and Revival was like Black Lives Matter, and
it was like what you talking about,
No, so content-wise, I was with it. The beats was terrible. So I never want to hear the album again. I never want to hear the album. And that's one of my favorite MCs. It's hard for me to listen to that album because the production is off. Like I don't care what you want to talk about, especially if we're talking social commentary. That's what Common is good for. Common's always going to give you social commentary. But I do feel like Kanye breathed life in him because even the stuff that he did without Kanye after that has been phenomenal. He put out an album recently with Kareem Higgins. I forget the name of the album. If I can pull it up real quick, I'll tell you. I feel like it can't. Black America Today, I believe his name. Black America Again.
Okay.
It's really, really jazzy. It's almost, I don't want to say it's an extension of B because that puts too much weight on it. But if you enjoy his work with Kanye, if you haven't heard Black America Again, you should.
Okay.
So when you sample from and I guess this is an open-ended question, and I guess because Alexis, you are producing, and Ree, I'm sure you know what I'm saying, you spit on a sample track or two or whatever. So is and I hate to say this, but is it almost like a cheat code when you're taking from certain because again he took a track from Caesar Frazier off of his album 75, which was to my knowledge one of his top albums, like his best work, period. So it's like, can you really lose when you're taking, like, almost when you're taking from greatness to, you know what I'm saying, and just kind of like sprinkling your little touch on it?
Lex, I'm gonna let you go first. I have a take.
Okay. If I believe I understand the question, I would say no, you can't really lose. However, it depends on who the sample goes to, because not everybody's going to work the sample, in the best way possible. Not everyone's going to hear it in a way that like brings out the
how about as far as the production, not lyricism aside, aside, bars aside,
and that's what I was speaking to. The production, you can give, let's say, Sweet Children, give it to Kanye is a banger. But like give it to somebody else who's not able to hear how the drums or how the horns can be really like utilized. it can turn into like, you know, a dud real quick.
Not so well received.
Right. So I think it really depends on who's actually hearing it, because our hearing is different. You know, we can all listen to the same song. We can all listen to Sweet Children and pick out something different from it. All, you know, all three of us. So I think it just depends from a production standpoint, a producer standpoint. I really think it depends on who's listening to it, because not everybody's going to be able to hear like the same thing, which can be a good thing. But like, if you can't expect that just because we're all hearing it differently doesn't mean that, like, I might want to hear like your track, but I might not want to hear the track made from like this other producer because of the way that they utilize the sounds. Right. So it just depends.
So just to piggyback, because you Lex actually said pretty much what I was thinking. Cheat code, no, not a cheat code, because the original record can be amazing, but you can give everybody the same tools and get a totally different, you know what I mean? Get a totally different design based on, like, I was just having a conversation with somebody the other day. Papa Was a Rolling Stone. Patience. That song has been sampled 1,000 times by hip hop artists. Nobody can get it right. That's why you never really hear it. The Migos just put out a record, and I'm not even a Migos fan. Man, let me tell you, it just felt good that somebody got it right. And it might not be for everybody when they hear the record. So I think it's called everybody. Anyway, it just felt good that somebody was able to take that sample and create another hit, because a lot of people have tried and it doesn't stick. It doesn't stick. So it can be a cheat code, but
if you don't put the code in right, it might not work.
The best metaphor I can give you is the sample is the coach. You can be the best coach in the world. If you ain't got the players right, you ain't gonna make the playoffs.
Yeah.
And on that note, we want to go ahead and go into these final thoughts. So Lex, what you got?
Okay, so my final thought is actually going to be a question. So Kanye, obviously, he's produced for a number of artists, but when we talk about that producer-artist chemistry, I know you guys were talking about, him and Kanye, but then I also thought about him and Jay-Z. Who do you think was the better sort of like chemistry?
Ooh.
Tricky question.
You want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go. For me, I feel like Jay and Kanye gave you bigger moments. Him and Common gave you better moments.
Okay.
Like, when you think of Niggas in Paris, that's one of the biggest songs in the world. I'm not picking Niggas in Paris over The Corner. Sorry. And that's nothing against Jay and Kanye. I think they have amazing. Encore is one of the best records in the world. And I don't know, because the Blueprint kind of shifted the culture. I'm gonna have to take that back just that fast. Like, I had to think about the Blueprint for a second. I'm like, sheesh.
So I'll say this. I will say, just based, neither one is right or wrong, right? Yeah.
Okay.
And I would say, and not to give the PR answer or the safe answer or whatever. I think, and depending on what side of the spectrum that you come from, as far as your listening and your lyrical ear and all that, I think neither one is right or wrong. I would go Kanye and Jay just based off the more consistency of hit records, not necessarily hit records per se, but more, they have a lot of quality records. Yeah, and don't get me wrong, not discrediting what Kanye and Common got going on, but because you just don't get as much consistency as you get with it, because it's just literally just more reps.
No,
with Jay and
that's fair. because without Kanye and Jay, you don't even get to comment.
Pretty
Kanye.
much. And then without Caesar Frazier, you don't even get to discuss these two tracks.
Oh.
So shout out to Caesar Frazier.
Wait, time out. I'm glad you said that. Caesar Frazier being Marvin Gaye's keyboardist. I wanted to say that. That was in my notes, and I almost forgot that fact. Caesar Frazier was in Marvin Gaye's backing band. He went on tour with him countless times.
Well.
You know what I mean? Like,
how did they run all the threads?
I mean, when you come from certain trees, when you branch off of a certain tree, I mean, you not saying that every time it's going to be a home run, but I mean, more often than not, it's going to be a home run. So with that being said, I think it's a wrap on this one, right?
Yeah, I'm cool with it.
Sweet children.
I'm good, man. I'm good.
Saying? The people.
Yeah.
Kanye West on the track. Caesar Frazier on the original.
Yeah.
Shout out to Kanye. Shout out to Common.
Yeah, absolutely.
Frazier, we appreciate you.
And just for the record, my favorite track off of the Beat album was the intro. I thought it was the hardest thing ever.
That intro was hard as hell.
I think it was the hardest thing ever.
Oh, real quick. I mentioned the trumpet play, the trumpet solo and the sax solo. Just for FYI, it was John Fadis and Joe Shepley who were the trumpet players for Sweet Children.
Nice.
I say it all the time. Shout out to the band. Shout out to the band.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Like, because that's such a huge part of that record.
Oh yeah.
I almost felt bad not putting that in. So as soon as you said Caesar Frazier, I was like, oh yeah, that's right. I put something in my notes that I wanted to.
Oh yeah, because it's really it's the horns that kind of make that song.
Hey, I always say it. The reason why I love that classic 70s music is shout out to the band. So with all that being said, we are the super friends of sampling. The track masters of talking tracks. So my left, your right, depending on how you looking, I have the beautiful singer-songwriter, producer, songstress.
All right, Alexa Gold here.
And my man, my brother from another, he lyrically exercises every day and performs all his own lyrical stunts. To the bottom, we got
Azrael DiCaprio, call me Karee.
Hey, I'm your man, Shizz, the can-do kid, the Super Saiyan from another planet. So, hey, with that being said, we are the Beat Connection, and I think it's can do. It's a wrap.
We out, y'all. We'll see y'all next time. Make sure to leave a comment, like, share, subscribe, talk to us. Let us know what you would like for us to discuss. Let us know what you want to discuss with us. And check us out on the next episode.
Hey.
All right.
Word to Nate Dogg.
Peace, y'all.